Finally, 36 years in the making, Beetlejuice, and pretty cool popcorn bucket. Finally, Beetlejuice is the sequel to the 1988 original film, 36 years in the making. The movie stars Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, Jenna Ortega, and the insanely great Michael Keaton, also co-starring William Dafoe and Justin Theroux, and of course directed by the great Tim Burton. Now, I saw this movie at B&B Theaters because I wanted to check out the MX4D experience. What is the MX4D experience, you may ask? It is an immersive movie theater experience where the seats move. Wind and water gets blasted in your face. There's leg and neck ticklers on the seats and back pokers, seat rumblers, and other special effects like smoke and rain and all these different types of smells. You pretty much feel the movie experience, everything in the actual movie. Now, how did I like it? It was pretty amazing. There's a scene where a character who's died has some blood splatter in the scene, and you actually feel it. It's weird. The opening of the movie, during the credits, the camera flies through the little town into the famous Dietz house, and the seats go up and down and side to side, and it feels like you're flying. It kind of feels like a Universal Studios ride. It was actually a pretty amazing experience. It was fun to see the audience laugh at every unexpected wind and lightning flash or wild movements of the seats. You should go and try it out. It's a great theater, and I had the whole experience. I even got the popcorn bucket. It's a fantastic theater. They even have pickleball. They have arcade, obviously, bowling, and some pretty great food. The film starts with Lydia Dietz, played by Winona Ryder, who 36 years after the events of the first film has a TV show where she helps people communicate with the dead. During a recent show, she starts having visions of Beetlejuice after all these years and starts to get a little concerned. Her stepmom, Delia Dietz, played by the magnificent Catherine O'Hara, who is still, after all these years trying to make it in the art world, calls Lydia to tell her that her dad's died, and that they're having the funeral in, of course, the town of Winter River, where the original movie takes place. On the way there, Lydia and her manager/boyfriend, played by Justin Theroux, pick up her daughter, Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, who's attending a school where she's picked on because of her famous mom, who talks to ghosts. She personally doesn't believe that her mom can really do this and doesn't believe that ghosts are real, because she says if she could, then why wouldn't she be able to talk to her dead father? Astrid's father, not Lydia's now deceased father. The movie starts well, and what I like the most is that it didn't feel like a legacy sequel where they bring back the original cast for a few scenes and then pass it on to a new generation so they can make more and more movies and more money. This felt like a real sequel with a continuing story that didn't feel forced. You can tell that the movie was written and directed with a lot of love. The comedy was really cleverly written, and during most of the movie, if I wasn't outright laughing at the jokes, I had a huge smile on my face for the whole entire movie. It not only fed my love of late 80s nostalgia, but also gives a fresh story in the old practical effects way. All the elaborate looks of everyone who had died were really creative and fresh, but had that really cool, funny, campy look of the original movie. Even the digital effects of the sandworms looked like they were meant to look like stop motion. It was really nice to see the original cast playing a major role here along with Jenna Ortega, and not just them in the background. You don't get to see the Maitlands, played by Alec Baldwin and Geena Davis in the original, despite that we're told in the first movie that they have to haunt their house for 150 years. Lydia claims that they found a loophole and moved on to somewhere else. Obviously, Charles Dietz, played by Jeffrey Jones, isn't in this movie for probably obvious reasons. That may be worth a Google if you don't know what happened there. But the way they pay tribute to his character was actually really amazingly written. It didn't feel like they were just discarding him from the whole story, but it's really a part of the bigger story. Michael Keaton, of course, shines here as Beetlejuice. I've always been a fan of Michael Keaton, from Mr. Mom to Birdman. I think he's an amazing, funny man and a great serious actor, and he will always be my Batman. He fits right back into this role like he had never left it. Catherine O'Hara is also amazing. Love her here, and despite being cold and kind of a jerk in the first movie, you see the warmth and growth in her character without compromising that character. It's just fantastic writing, and O'Hara plays it absolutely perfectly. Two characters who I wanted to see a little bit more of and didn't really have much development here were the dead cop action film actor trying to be a real cop in the dead world, Wolf Jackson, played by William Dafoe, and Beetlejuice's first wife, Dolores, played by Monica Bellucci. It's funny, these characters weren't really necessary, but I really enjoyed them, especially Wolf Jackson, who would lay out these crazy cliche cop movie lines while hunting down Beetlejuice. The movie has so many amazing callbacks and references to the first movie, and it didn't feel like they were there to assure you that this was a Beetlejuice movie. They all felt organic and very purposeful and part of the story. The soundtrack is also pretty amazing, from the opening scene with the original theme music that really gets you pumped up, to the really original way they do the Banana Boat Deo song. But just the music in general, the artists that they put in there, they chose for the soundtrack were really surprisingly pretty great. Beetlejuice is a great blockbuster movie. The story gets a little crazy, but everything comes together at the end, and it was a very satisfying sequel. It's chock full of great writing, memorable characters, tons of nostalgia, lots of laughs, a little heart, and it's just a fun time at the movies. Don't wait until it streams. This movie is worth seeing with a lot of people in the theater, and it may be one of my favorite blockbusters of 2024. I'm sorry, Deadpool fans. Deadpool was a good movie, but I mean, hey, let me know what you thought of Beetlejuice. Let me know in the comments below. And remember, don't wait to stream it. Let's go to the movies and see it together.